time zones, and welcome. It is another Saturday. We are ready to get our work on. Get your work on. Get your work on.
Jace, we're live, but you still have the timer on the screen.
Oh, fine.
So we're better than that one time, but
I hold the timer up before people get here, so I don't have my picture being the only thing on the screen across the entire thing.
That's fair, honestly.
How is everybody doing? I know. Let's introduce ourselves and say what we're working on. I'll take the last spot. Sage.
Hi, folks. My name is Sage, also known as Moon Bunny Creative. Stuff, things. I have no idea what I'm working on. I'm just here. Chloe.
I am Chloe. Chloe Alex Balkan. I am a writer of paranormal romance, and I am today working on my Vela project. I did some editing on some old scenes yesterday, so I am caught up to write new scenes today. It looks like we're going down to Meadow.
Hi, I'm Meadow. I'm here to, I don't know what I'm working on yet, but it's either going to be Charlie's book or my book. Yay.
Sweet. Sako.
Oh, sorry. Howdy, neighbors. I'm Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Voigt. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. So if you are looking for videos that focus on marketing for authors, I have a whole playlist of them on my channel. Today, I'm going to be hopping between preparing for, I am shooting a model tomorrow and for a horror book, and
Jason, it wasn't funny until you laughed, and then it was funny.
children.
The model deserves to go. I don't know what the model did, but I'm sure they deserve it.
and I'm going to be
for a horror book did not improve it.
Did not improve. No. I'll be hopping between that, and I need to take a video of me dancing for the month. So there's that. Which means I might gain more makeup as the day goes on.
As Meadow is doing.
As Meadow is doing.
Say it again, Noel.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Noel.
Oh, no,
and
no.
Charlie.
Hi, I feel like I'm doing like a complete organ body transplant on this chapter and completely losing track of time because everything about it is wrong and terrible and I hate it. So, and I only have 2 weeks to fix it because it's part of my scheduled thing that's supposed to be going out. So yeah, I'm doing that.
Excellent. And hello to my little polka dots. I like that. I might keep it. I'm Jace, and I am today working on editing Will Meyer's Virtual Diary Episode 2. I got some very, very helpful notes from Chloe today, and it is time to implement them. I've implemented some of them. I realized that as we were discussing it, I wrote it more in. It's supposed to be an audio journal where he's just giving his daily, or speaking his daily truth. But I wrote it a little too literary, so it's like dialogue heavy and stuff. And I realized that I really need to do a little more David Sedaris narrating a story.
I don't know why it's such a trigger for me when I'm beta reading, but I always notice when dialogue is not natural. Like it's something that really sticks out to me really badly. And I feel like this was just like an extension of that. Like, oh, like this dialogue sounds exactly natural, but it's absolutely not how anybody would tell the story of this dialogue.
Yeah, not in the. It's not how someone would tell the story if they're putting it in their diary.
Yeah.
Continuing my trend of feeling called out by random comments that people are making about completely things other than myself. Like, okay, note, never send Chloe one of my betas. I don't need to trigger her. Got it.
If you have a problem with that, then I should be a beta reader for you.
Well,
Like, you
this
don't want to
discussion-
let that problem go into final products.
No, I usually get it taken care of before I send it out, but like I, for some reason, felt extremely called out by that. I was just like, did I send you a copy of something I wrote? I don't think I sent you a copy of the thing I'm working on. Oh God, did I send you a copy of this trash fire? No.
Okay, I feel like for next week, in honor of the Olympics, we need some sort of an object that we all have that we can like pass to each other through the video to do our intros, so we don't have that awkward pause. You'll just know that the pen is going down, so now Sako must like take her pen. Yeah.
I actually like
the Olympic torch.
I like how we started that out with the people just calling out the next person. I thought that was fabulous.
It's always the most awkward part of these.
I mean, that's purely from me being awkward and being like, okay, go to the next person, please.
Yeah, but it works so well, and I think we might keep that.
Also, the discussion of the dialogue and the naturalistic things and the whatnot has solved for me what I'm working on tonight.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Yes. I am going to be working on my experimental Otayuri fic, which is currently at 12,000 words.
That's
and
big.
only like, I want to say 5% of the scene cards are actually filled out. So
Ooh.
this may be like a 300,000 word fic. I mean,
Nice.
and it's experimental. There is no direct dialogue in the entire thing.
Yeah, I think the reason I felt so called out by that is this scene is primarily with two of my characters, one of which is like a really laid back, really like cutesy, likes to really put on a facade of being cutesy so no one realizes how dangerous she is, Korean girl, who suddenly turns into Gandalf the White and begins giving exposition in grand, long... I'm just like, oh, honey, you would not talk... No one in this world would talk like this.
I have that issue as well. I get it. And like, I don't even... For me, it's not even that I have an issue with the diction when I read weird diction. It's usually just like how the actual exchange goes on. But absolutely, I'm constantly fighting myself with the fact that like I have characters using words that this character would absolutely never use.
I just think it's funny. Like with what we're talking about, it was the opposite problem with my episode, was because the dialogue was too natural.
And again, it's that issue of actually they are telling a story and not showing us
exactly. And we actually had that conversation. They were like, "Nope, tell, don't show." And I'm just like, "Oh my god, you're right."
Yeah, I'm reading through this chapter, and suddenly I realized her voice got replaced in my head with Sir Ian McKellen, and I'm just like, oh, no, this is not written in character anymore. No.
Now over in chat room corner, is that all we have? Or is there more? No, we have Devin and we have Morgan. I haven't seen anybody else say anything. But welcome you two.
we having a quiet day, but that's okay because there's 6 of us right here, so we already have a
None of
stream.
them-
There was also a 10K.
people that would are in the screen with you.
Oh, there's
There
a
was also-
10K.
Well, I know yesterday there was a 10K relay, and I don't know how long that went. If that was just yesterday, or if they're doing something else today. But
Mm.
I know it was rolling into last night quite
because
late.
Okay, Sage went into the chat.
I was already in the chat, just by the way. I just wasn't active.
Yeah, true. I'm over there as well.
Sage is everywhere. Sage watches all of us. That's how come she's the daddy.
Oh,
I'm sorry I had
dear.
to say it that way. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. You can punish me later.
Later.
All right.
That sounded so dirty. I'm sorry.
It was supposed to.
I'm very
Okay,
proud
good.
of that.
As long as it was supposed to, I suppose.
And
All
my
right.
transformation is complete.
Ah, yes, Daddy Odebek. All right, let us get into our first sprint. I had a topic for us to discuss, but maybe we'll do it next time. All right, we will sprint in 3, 2, 1, go. And we're back. How did people do on this sprint?
I decided to start reading something on Bella, and the one that's number 2 right now definitely earned its spot there. It's quite good.
Excellent.
I'm testing out some backdrops for my dance thing.
Sweet.
I got like a structure for it to go up, like a frame, and I'm experimenting how to make it taller than me without stumbling and breaking everything.
Oh, sorry, I'm pinching my nose because I feel a sneeze coming on. All right.
I've been trying to fix this story Bible because I pantsed the first 36 chapters of the story and did not make adequate notes.
I know those feels very well.
Yeah.
Try writing the entire first book and not taking any notes and not having outlined it, so that now you have to go back and outline the book that you've already written.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at.
It's a party.
It is a party, and there's a cat here.
Yo!
Yo!
We have a cat. Welcome. Introduce yourself.
Immediately hit the mute button on accident.
Introduce yourself. No.
I'm Kat. I do things. And I just got home from work, so.
Woot woot.
Kat, you gotta let us know when you're ready to start up the Sims 4.
I put my 2 weeks in at the restaurant today. So, and then hopefully, in the next week or two, I'll be starting at the new job. And
Is it the new old job?
yeah, it's in a different department than my old job. But yes, it's a new old job. And I did tell them, because I do all the stuff on Thursdays, no Thursdays, but I also said preferably no Wednesdays either. So.
Cool.
He's hoping.
And the only people we have not heard from yet are the top row.
Oh, I wrote 300, and then the cat was needy again, so I got a little bit of work done.
Hey, it's more than you got before.
Yeah, it's 300 words that takes my word count for the day up to 300.
300. I know those feels.
Yeah.
So, my spreadsheet makes it look like I got 6,000 words on that sprint. I did not get 6,000 words on that sprint. I am just copy pasting from the old document into the new document, breaking the things into the right places, basically. So it looks like 6,000 words, but it's not. It's 20.
You should just brag and say you got 6,000 words, though.
That's what I do.
6,000 words.
Oh my God.
6 words per minute.
And I got, I think, the first 2 pages finished editing. Yes, it is a woo. Also, while we were on in that sprint, we had Key join us.
Hi, Key.
What is Noelle doing?
Making noises.
Is she coughing up a hairball?
Oh my goodness! How did you say that? That's all I can hear.
She's saying the letter K over and over again.
Why did you put that image in my mind? I've just seen a beautiful little child just trying to get a hairball out like a cat. Why? Okay, I'm better. No, I'm not.
Now she thinks it's hilarious, even though she can't even hear you guys. She thinks it's hilarious because she's got some gender for it. What are you doing, Noel?
She's slowly turning into Gollum.
We also had Ginny come in, and we had Morgan finish writing the blurb for the back of the book. Excellent.
Very nice. That
This is the
nightmare
worst.
job. Well done.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing. Like I hate writing blurbs so much.
For one of my Vela books, which just so y'all know, if you're not on Vela, your blurbs are 500 characters, not
Yes.
500 words, 500 characters. And I still made Sandy stay online with me for like an extra hour on Wednesday night when she was supposed to be feeding her baby to help me write those 500 characters for one of my stories.
Yeah, I'm in optimization phase over there, and so I've been playing with my tags now that I'm seeing what's popular and like, oh yeah, I'm actually that tag covers me and stuff. And I really need to rewrite the blurb for it, but I have no ideas.
I
Whatever.
can write a sentence and I can write 200 words. I cannot do this. What is that? 50 words? I can't.
Something like
That
that.
is not a length that my brain works at.
Why is that the length they went with?
It's
I-
super weird.
That's the question with everything
Yeah.
on Vela.
It's a very obscure choice.
Yeah, it makes so much more sense if it was that single sentence. Like they allow, I think it's 150 characters for Amazon ads. It
So-
would make more sense for me to have that than 500
Right.
characters.
And it's so important to have the first sentence be good. It's so much more important because they only show the first like so many characters.
Yeah.
So if those first like couple words in your blurb don't grab somebody, they won't click the read more to expand it out.
Yep.
They've made a lot of decisions.
Also, I don't think a single person has picked up that story since I did that, since I changed the blurb. So apparently I tortured Sandy for an hour for nothing.
And Sage, you were trying to say?
I was just gonna say, so the Vela description blurb things are like 1.5 tweet length.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's super
also-
awkward.
I also saw a post the other day about something that was very disturbing with Vela, and that is the ability for people who spent tokens on a chapter to refund them within 7 days.
Yes.
Of course.
But that just goes in line with Amazon's usual return policy. And honestly, I mean, that is every book ever on Amazon. And I don't think anybody, a lot of people like to fuss about that return policy, but I've never met anybody that has more than like 2% returns. So it's the cost of doing business. This is what being self-published as opposed to being through a trad
There
publishing
is-
house is. Yeah. Like
There
it's-
is something, though, that I would really like them to implement, and that is you cannot buy the next chapter of a story if you return the chapter before. So
I
you have,
don't
if you
know
want to
if that-
keep reading, you have to repurchase that chapter.
Has this been tested as to whether or not they
I've not
can
heard
do
that.
that?
No,
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
if they
saying
can.
I want that implemented.
I would be fine with that. My biggest problem right now is both of the reviews that got left on my story, as well as like the people that have been showing up in my chats that have read it, have fixated on one character who doesn't show up for a really long time. in
Well,
the
I guess
story.
they're gonna have to stick around.
And I'm just like, do I find ways to like sneak him into the chapters that aren't published yet? What do I do? 'Cause I didn't think people would like him. I really didn't. I loved him so much because he's a creepy little monster demon guy. And I was like, nobody's going to like this character. And everybody so far that has read it has come up to me and like, so, great chat. You think? I was like, oh yeah, he's got like a whole plot line later. Oh, that's like later.
But people love a creepy little demon gremlin monster dude. So, like, what were you expecting, Charlie?
Yeah.
The early alphas that I sent it to, 3 of them said to cut the chapter.
Oh.
So like my early alpha response was basically, we hate this.
But
You
were
just
they
didn't
your
have the
target
right outfits.
demographic?
They've liked the other book that exists in the setting. They read a lot of the urban fantasy type stuff too. So I figured that they were, but then again, I don't think anybody has experienced like super queer urban fantasy superstar in the exact way that I'm writing it for this series. So I don't know.
Makes sense.
Well, that brings us to the topic that I would like to talk about next break, after we do this next sprint. And what I was hoping to talk about today was the advantages of writing in serial style, because there are quite a few of us that are doing that, and it is different. It's much different than writing novel style.
Yep.
But it's also kind of fun.
Oh, so much fun. It is so much fun.
But we'll save that for the next break. We did have Mama Ward come in. Hello. And CB came in. Wow, I can't speak. And Jillian came in. I have not seen you yet, Jillian, but welcome.
Hey, Jillian.
Yeah,
She's good
serials. Excellent. I like good peoples. Serials is a good topic.
I'm not even really that tired, but I cannot stop yawning for some reason.
Gee, I
Maybe
wonder
you need
why.
more oxygen.
Maybe, but I'm not even tired because I slept until noon today. Like, and I didn't stay up super late. I went to bed at like 2 and I slept until noon. So I don't feel tired, but I keep yawning and I don't know why. It's really starting to bother me.
Because there's a lot of energy going on around you right now, and it's exhausting.
Or your brain just needs more oxygen to it, because that's why you yawn.
Yeah, scientifically, you yawn to get more oxygen into your lungs at one time.
A lot of times I also get that yawning, like that particular feeling when I'm relaxed, like not relaxed tired, but like when a weight has been taken off and it's just like, okay, I can chill now, and my body's just like let's see. Mama Ward says she's discovered that chapters can be bought out of order if there are more than just the next chapter available. Well, that stinks.
Actually,
well,
I'm
that's
excited.
good.
I'm excited about that because I'm going to be doing the collections over on through KDP to go out. So if people want to get caught up reading the collected works, I'm going to be very clear. This is a collection of chapters 1 through 14. This is 14 through whatever, right?
Okay.
And then they can. It's like watching an ongoing TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you know. Oh, I want to keep reading this.
This is season 1. This is season 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
And that also gives more justification for people being able to return chapters, because if people are doing that, and they certainly have it set up now so that you can do that, then like someone could accidentally buy a chapter that they have already read in another place and not realize it until they've already purchased it and are reading that chapter, that they've already gone through that and they don't need to buy it again.
Which is one of the reasons why I kind of hope, and I sent a ticket to the KDP people asking for them to add it when you create a new book on your dashboard, if it is part of a collected Vela, for us to be able to link it there.
Yeah,
so
that
that
would
we
be
can say
fun.
it is these chapters of that, so that they're actually interconnected and everything, to help make that as clear as we can possibly make it.
Mhm.
And then that also makes it easier for them to enforce. Like if you're not using that and not saying where it's connected, they can, keep people from, abusing their readership.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Jillian says, this is my first time at this particular sprint, but I'm sure I'll be a much more regular presence. Excellent.
Awesome.
We'd love to see you.
We love having people here. Okay, we are going to jump into our next sprint. Let me put the screen up. There we go. All right, and we'll do this in 3, 2, 1, go.
Did we lose Jace?
I think we lost him.
Was
Not so much. Well, sort of.
that a task to see how we would react?
Luckily,
And
it
did
was
we
almost.
pass?
I'm hearing an echo. Test? Okay, now I'm not.
Yay.
No, I went to move my mouse, but I had moved the keyboard that was in front of it, and it was apparently on the edge of the cord of the mouse, so it ripped the mouse out of my hand and made my finger, like, as it pulled it, it hit my finger on it and just made me hit the back button
Hate
out of the
that.
screen. It's like, oh, you monster! Luckily, there were only like 20 seconds left.
I did think that the timing was weird as well. I was like, I feel like there were a couple more seconds left in that sprint.
Yeah, I was moving my mouse so I could actually end the sprint. Or,
Yeah, get ready to.
yeah. CB got 155 words, and Ginny got dishes done and started working on next week's planning. Charlie will be late coming back from the sprint.
Dog walkies.
Let's see. You lost Chase. Yes. Eva got almost 11K in this outline, about 400 words since joining. I think forgot to check. And Devin says hi to Jillian, and Jillian says hi to Devin. Kevin, yes. We have Kevin now.
Devin goes by many names, including Kevin.
Kevin, our glorious tugwaddle of glory and links.
Okay, Sako, you unmuted yourself, but you're still mute.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're muted. Or continuing while Saka gets her stuff figured out. But perhaps Kevin is Bizarro Devin.
So Kevin knows not what is going on.
Marco.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello?
Poyo.
Charlie, I wanted to ask you something
Yes.
about your book.
Uh-oh.
Did you call that creature a tugwaddle because of Devin?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The tugwaddles were part of the planning for the.
Yep. In fact, they look like guinea pig people because Devin said guinea pigs were his favorite. So they're
Nice.
described to look like guinea pig people. Oh,
Nice.
and it was really hard not naming one of the characters that. Wow. I think we just had an earthquake.
Did we?
I don't know. Everything in my office just shook and things fell off off the shelves.
Oh,
Oh dear.
That's disturbing.
Okay. So I decided that in this story, I am going to leave the narrative style when Ben and Will are speaking together, because it is more intimate.
I think that's totally fine. I think really where what I read, it didn't even cross my mind until he was talking to the group to begin with.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, and again, like my biggest concern wasn't even, I mean, yes, you do want to make sure that it is the sort of conversation that somebody can follow when you are speaking it. But my bigger concern was that it's going to be really hard to record it to make it something that's followable. Like, yeah, professional readers don't really have a choice in the matter, but you do.
Exactly. No, and I agree fully. But I wanted to read this small section because I'm kind of in love with it. And two people already know it. It is when Ben introduces himself to Will for the first time. "Ben," said a smooth and slightly deep male voice in front of me. I tipped my neck forward to look straight into the eyes of Hattie McBeefcake. Ben Jacobs, I live on your street. I caught sight of your family moving in, but I didn't want to be in the way. Been looking forward to meeting you. I couldn't think. He wanted to meet me? For real? My mind raced for something to say back. He turned to leave. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. No! I got way too close to yelling that. I mean, no! I'm sorry. I've been on a self-tour for like 2 hours and ran out of steam. I had trouble processing what you said. Hell, I had trouble processing that you weren't just the incoming heat stroke talking to me. He laughed at that. You have a name, Heat Stroke? Oh, the places I could take that nickname. End scene.
So
That was honestly my favorite part.
I think Sako got the mood right for that. I don't think there's anything better to say than what Sako said, and since I don't have a fan near me, just yeah.
Yeah, and as I told both Chloe and Sage, Ben calling Will Heat Stroke, that's something he did on his own. I did not plan that. He just flirted with Will.
It's definitely a Ben thing for him to say.
Yeah, and I figure I might as well title the chapter or the episode Heat Stroke.
Yes.
Anyway, what we wanted to talk about this sprint
is that we agree with Jillian, and yes, that giggle, that yes, enthusiasm, infectious, yes. Okay, continue.
Is episodic. Wow, words.
Yes, episodic words. Writing serials.
Serials. Serials is the word I was looking for.
Cereals.
Yeah, it's the benefits of writing in serial style versus regular book style. Because I am kind of loving doing that. It's what I'm doing for Will Meyer's Virtual Diary. And it's a different way to go about things. And I like it. It's because you have to actually plan out. It's like having a chapter, but it's more self-contained than a chapter. So it's more like an episode on a TV show.
Yeah, I really enjoy that about it. I have mentioned it so many times on like every show I've been on, but in the wonderful book Story Architect, where it talks about the different ways that you can structure a story, when it goes into writing episodic fiction, I always get mad at it because it completely glosses over the idea that serials exist. And it's just like, this is not a common way to do novels anymore. And I'm just like, yes, novels are not generally written episodically unless they're for kids, like middle grade, and some young adult are still written fairly episodically. But there's still like a thriving serial market. Like it's been around for a long time. I got my start writing serials.
Well, and it's also that issue of the things that are popular tend to be popular because somebody big like Amazon endorses it. And the fact that before this, we had like the big names in the US. There was only one big name in the US, and that was Wattpad, and that's a shit pile. So there are other services in the US, but we really that's what most of the American market knows as being serial, if they know it at all, or fan fiction.
Right.
I used to post on Wattpad a lot when I was in high school. Before they made all the changes and did all the paid stuff, I just was on there for free. And one benefit that I found from doing that is that, you could start a story and maybe nobody's reading it, but then you get one person, then two, then three, and you build up a fan base. And there were several people who got so popular on Wattpad that they ended up getting publishing deals. Like Anna Todd is the main example that comes to mind. I didn't like her book, but it was popular enough on Wattpad that they published it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
don't think when I say that Wattpad is a shit pile, don't think that I'm judging every single writer on Wattpad.
oh yeah,
Wattpad is completely overrun by like whoever the boy band. I am way too old to keep track of these things now.
One Direction.
Yeah, whoever.
Writer's version of
How is that
of
still
DeviantArt.
so popular?
I
I don't know if it is, but like there's some great stuff on Wattpad, and there's plenty of books that have been published since being on Wattpad. There are a few authors that I like read their books after they were published and then discovered that they had come from Wattpad. It's just that like that is the only thing that we get for serial. And there is like Radish and Dream and stuff like that, but we just don't. None of them get the popularity or have the brand name that Amazon has.
And see, this is where I really wish that Amazon had the same Machiavellian genius that a company like Disney has, because this would be a great way to farm talent for shows for Prime, because you're already getting episodic content with fan bases growing for it. This would be a brilliant place to farm that talent to get those stories and bring them up. Unfortunately, given how chaotic Amazon is, I don't think that they will be capable of having thought forms like that.
Amazon needs a department that is literally just called communication within.
Yeah.
And they just need to go, okay, did you communicate with this section? No? Well, guess what you need to do?
Because it's so frustrating. Every time you talk to somebody and they're just like, oh yeah, we should say something to that other team over there. And I'm like, wait, what? That's another team? What?
Yeah.
Like, that's why we can't add Vela stories to our Author Central profile, because they forgot to tell the Author Central profile to build that in.
Yeah. And that's another thing, is that we are literally on what, day 4?
Yeah.
5? So we really don't know where it's going yet. I'm worried about how they started it. I'm worried that it's going to cause like waiting issues later, but they might get smoothed out as, you know, the market grows from a couple hundred people to several thousand, tens of thousands, however many it grows to. But like, it's certainly a rough start, but I'm holding out hope for things right now.
Well, another example of an episode of fiction that I like to read is manga and comic books, because you can do the apps and stuff where instead of, you know, buying the whole comic book and reading it, or buying the whole manga and reading it, you can get each chapter as they come out. That is highly successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just not something that's tapped in the American market. Like, we import it. It's really rare that you actually get. There is some American manga, but it's rare.
And the thing that I want to circle back to is, you know, these people that, you know, in recent years have, you know, hit it big with their serialized fiction on Wattpad and had it go over to book form. Are they having to novelize their serial fiction?
See, I don't think a well-written serial should need novelization. It really shouldn't. I mean, when you look back at like some of the classics of literature, they were serialized. Like, everything Dickens ever wrote was originally serialized. And it was good enough that when collected up, you could read it as a collected book. And, you know, my personal absolute favorite book of all time, Tales of the City, was originally serialized. And yeah, I love that book so much. And it's one of those standards that I hold myself to, because I think the writing is just so good. But it was originally serialized in a newspaper. And it just got collected into 3 volumes, and they're really, really good because he was doing plot arcs. He was doing character arcs. And that's where anybody getting involved in this kind of fiction really needs to start thinking more like a TV show runner than like an author. Where are these characters going? What are the threads that we're going to be following? What are the plot arcs that we're going to be collecting up for our box sets that we're going to put over in book form so other people can find them and read them? And that's so much more exciting when you're developing a story and developing a world, because you don't have to get locked into, oh, I have to cut out all of these side stories. That side story could be a season of your serial.
Yep.
And it could work really, really well. And it's much more liberating.
And I think it was you, Chloe, talking earlier today about the side plot.
Side quest, I called it.
Side
because I
quest,
was video
yes.
game terms. But yeah, and the thing with that, so like that was what I was saying to Jace earlier today, is that one of my favorite things with it is that like things that you don't necessarily usually like editors will chew you out for, is having those like random side adventures that characters go off on. For me, I always think about in manga, there's always the beach episode that like, why did they go to the beach? But the thing is that, as Charlie said, as long as it is written well enough, if it is already in the story and people already know and love the story, then if you do then put it into a novel format, that scene is going to be, or that tangent, however many scenes it is, will be fine. But it is something that you get to play with more when you're writing episodic than if you are writing a full novel. You can just like be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I just wanted them. I had this idea for this scene. So let's just have them go off on this little adventure and it'll connect back to the plot.
And so I really like those, like in reading in general, because it's a mental break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if it's a very like serious and there's just this one scene that's not, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, I couldn't handle all the, like it was just too much at a certain point.
Well, that's something that people are forgetting a lot, even in novelization, actually, especially in novelization recently, is the take a breath. Let the readers have a breath. Calm moments are there for a reason.
I would like to point out. Oh, go ahead. I'll say my thing.
Sorry. With, like Shakespeare, I know that's plays, not books or whatever, but even in the comedies, there will be some dramatic moments. And even in the tragedies, there will be some comedic moments, because you can't have all dark or all light all the time.
Right.
Your audience will just like implode.
And I've read books. I can think of one in particular that was start to finish all dark all the time. And I hated it. And I won't say it. I won't say the title.
You have to tell me later, because my intense curiosity.
But this is also why stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender has such a sway over people's minds, because it was serialized fiction through episodes. If that was movies, you would not have been able to have all the side quests and stuff, which is where they did most of their character development. It was in those, like, oh, we're going to go to Kyoshi Island so I can show you the giant koi. That's where you started learning a lot about how Aang actually operates internally. You get to see a lot more of Katara. You start seeing their characters. It appears to be an almost throwaway episode until you get later in the series and you realize how important the Kyoshi warriors are going to be, and when they get brought back in later and everything. It's a wonderful way to actually be able to build character, because when you're focused solely on plot, and especially when you're reading a book, when you get those side quest chapters, it feels like, well, why are we doing this? What is this here? Whereas when you're experiencing it on an episode by episode basis, it's much more of a, ooh, what are we doing today? Or the experience of interacting with the fiction changes.
Exactly.
I feel like I have an advantage with romance, because like romance readers actually appreciate that, because it is nice for your characters to just have like a quiet evening to chill out and then like get back to the insanity. So these are things that I'm used to writing.
Well, and those are also done a lot in fanfic.
Yep.
That is those moments. Those peaceful character moments are kind of the bread and butter of fanfic, really.
Yeah.
Or the like complete like comedy insanity that we gets thrown in fanfic. Because they're like, we need something.
Okay, so my favorite musical of all time, Phantom of the Opera, started off as a serialized book that was published in a newspaper. And I just think it's crazy to see like something serialized in a newspaper has become so many different things.
And so popular that you can often just say Phantom and everybody knows what you're talking about. They just assume what you can just say one word out of the title and everybody knows what you're talking about. You know?
Well, assuming that you're talking to a certain crowd of people.
Well, yeah. But I don't know.
Most people, if you say Phantom, they'll assume you're talking about Phantom of the Opera in some form.
But, you know, like the chapter that I'm currently struggling with is basically a spotlight on a character that I felt like she wasn't getting as much time as she needed because the story was very focused on the plot, and we're at a breathing point. Like the story has slowed down and I could take time and you can get to know her and who she is, and also get to see a little bit more of the setting and add a little bit more of the mystery in, which is also setting up her plot for like many episodes later down the road. But you know, I love having that freedom working on a story like this, where I wouldn't feel like I could do that in a novel, because, well, this story chapter really shouldn't be there because the story that it's tying into won't be in this particular book. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be a later thing. But no, you need to see her development. You need to see, oh, here's how she starts studying magic. This is how she starts getting into it. So that you're there when you get there. As much as I get mad at, you know, She Who Shall Not Be Named, one of the most brilliant parts of her books is when you go back and reread them and see, oh my goodness, that cabinet from book 7, you know, from book 6, that shows up for the first time in book 1, and it gets mentioned again in book 3, and you know, it's like it's that level of being able to think things ahead and drop those little hints in that seem like throwaways. It's a wonderful thing to play with when you're writing a story.
You also don't have to worry so much about the construction of it to make sure that everything is balanced. Like, obviously, you still want some balance with it, but you don't have to worry so much. You know, you kind of get bogged down a bit, not a lot, but a little bit in novels, and making sure that like everybody gets their fair share of time, and that if you're doing something weird where you're changing like perspective at some point, you want to make sure that those scenes are paced properly, so like it's not overloaded at any point, or like, you know, it doesn't confuse the reader. But you have a little bit more luxury with that. You've got a little bit more play when you're doing the episodes for being able to break your structure for this one moment.
And also,
Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Morgan. You give your audience the ability to start putting things together on their own. I mean, this is one of the reasons why Lovecraft is still talked about today, is because those aren't cohesive stories that build a narrative through. We have to piece them together, and it wouldn't be Charlie talking about fiction if I didn't bring up A Dead Frenchman. But this is like what Roland Barthes was talking about with making a readerly text, or making it where a writerly text, making it where the reader is made a co-writer in the story, because as you're going episode by episode, slowly putting your breadcrumbs in and setting your story up, your reader has the ability to get more attached to, well, what's going to happen next, especially if they're reading in the moment as the story's coming out. Because I've already got people that are DMing me questions about like, oh, is this going to happen next? This is because they're theorizing what happens in chapter 6, because I only have 5 chapters published. And that's so exciting to see people getting into it that way, because, you know, as much as I love Netflix and the kathump, here's everything, that's a novel. That's how novels are. You get everything up front. You don't have that time to theorize and question as much as when you have to actually have a physical break.
Like Disney Plus every week.
Yeah. I'm so much more into the Disney Plus shows just because I have an entire week of like, what's Loki going to do next? You know, like.
But they can also. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I saw, and I wish that I had bookmarked it, but I saw a really interesting post on Tumblr And if I had bookmarked it, I could have shared it, but I didn't, so I can't. But it was basically talking about how the season length of TV shows has decreased and decreased and decreased as the studios are trying to tighten up and tighten up and tighten up. And the problem is they're taking out all of that breathing room.
Hmm.
I can't watch TV anymore because every show gives me anxiety because it's constant onslaught. We used to have
Oh no! Oh ow! Oh
24
no!
episodes a season was the norm, and then it went to 10 to 12 episodes, and now 6 episodes a season is the norm. And you can't, like, they're not getting 6 episodes is fine when your episode is an hour and a half and you're doing mini series. It's not enough when you're doing 20 to 40 minutes. You
And see,
can't.
that's where I see the brilliance in a show like Loki. Is that they actually took that breathing room. Like, I don't know, they had so few episodes that I would feel like in a what do you get, 6 episodes in this season?
So with Loki, that's a slightly different thing. Is they commissioned 10 or 12 episodes, and then midway through filming, the pandemic hit. So what they did was they broke the production. So what we're seeing now as season 1 is actually just the first half of season 1. And what they're billing as season 2 is the second half of season 1. So the finale that everyone's all het up about is not actually
It's
a
the
finale.
mid-season
It's the
finale.
mid-season finale.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm not watching because I don't have Disney Plus and I don't want Disney Plus. But I'm just, yes.
I mean, I
Tumblr
don't-
is a great source of wisdom.
Yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's just an entire episode that's just 2 of the characters talking. That, yeah, they put a few action sequences into it. Yes, it is technically moving the plot forward, but it feels like one of those, like, everything's been so frantic up to this point. It's that wonderful moment. And I love to see how people are starting to use the new formats to make that happen.
Mhm.
Because I think we're seeing that more and more. It's getting hard for me to watch like a Netflix show, one, because it all comes out at once, but also every episode is run, 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 run. Okay, we're done now. But there might be more. Who knows? We have to wait to see what the gods say. You know?
So, speaking of the gods and what they say, this one says we should do our final sprint.
This lesser god supports that.
Just because, yeah, we really need to get a third sprint in. But I love the discussion.
Fine,
It's
the
an-
devil agrees.
We're gonna do a sprint, Noah.
Hi, Grace.
I know.
Hi, Grace.
Okay, you said hi. Quiet.
All right, we are going to sprint in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we have finished that sprint. How did everybody do? Wow, I can't do multiple things at the same time.
I watched Sideways' video about why the 2020 Milan didn't work, and I played Minecraft.
Last sprint I edited 2 pages, and then this sprint I only edited 1, but I'm also altering one of the paragraphs to make it a little bit like to show more of Dinah's power.
Excellent. Sako is muted.
I am. I danced.
Yay! I
Now,
mitigated.
did you record the whole video, or was it just a practice?
I recorded it, but I'll probably end up doing it again because that was my first dance of the day, and I'm not expecting it to be good.
Warm up. Okay, Charlie.
I pain mitigated and sat down just in time to start work and hear you say, well, that was that sprint. How did everybody do?
Success.
Yay! I did get my knee to stop hurting, though, so very much a success. So
I was expecting the scene that I am writing to be a short one, and instead I am currently at 12 minutes, which is not gigantic, but is already like 400 more than I was expecting it to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
And aside from answering me in... Oh, you did art.
Ooh.
Because,
Because it's very, very late for you.
yeah, brain has ceased function.
Yeah, mine has kind of done that too. I edited one line in the thing I was working on, and then I unedited it because I liked it better the first way. And that's all I did. So I'm closing that document for the evening because it's just no. But yeah. I'm having trouble braining now. Apparently I have hit the wall. Oh, you are muted again, Sako.
I am.
It is your bedtime, though,
It is
Jay,
your
so it's
bedtime.
okay that you hit the wall.
Yeah. Oh, and Jillian popped out, and Devin gave us the link to Jillian's stream if you want to go to writing, do more writing
Do the
after
guiding
this.
thing.
Oh, yeah, let us do our outros, because, wow, I don't think I can carry on more conversation.
Fair.
So let us start with Sage, and we'll do it the way we did the intro. So everyone, when their outro is done, they will kick it to the next person.
And don't forget to grab your pens so we can pass them along.
Pins are way the fuck over there.
Just go like this.
Yeah, high five the edge of the screen.
You could do that too.
Okay. Me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Sage, also known as Moon Bunny Creative. I was here, I did things. Chloe.
It's like those TikToks, except less organized because we're YouTubers. I am Chloe Alice Falcon. I write paranormal romance and I write erotic romance, and now under Vella, I write alien romance. All of those under Chloe Alice Falcon, and then I also have a erotic romance on Vella under CB Alice because it was as far as I could get from C Alice. while still using my pen name, and I just didn't have the balls to have my alt pen name be C. Alice. So I am on Vela as both Chloe Alice Falcon and CB Alice. And that is everything for me.
Howdy, neighbors. I'm Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Voight. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. So if you are looking for videos pertaining to marketing as an author, I have videos on the topic, a whole playlist of them on my channel. Please drop by sometime. I would love to see you. Yeah,
I know sides. I know sides well. Hi, my name's Charlie. I'm Kirsten the Head. I do way too much. I stream over on Twitch on Wednesdays and Fridays, sometimes on Mondays at 5 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, it's fun. It's wonderful. I have a Vela out that is driving me both crazy and like full of love and hearts because people say nice things make brain go boom. Yeah. Meadow?
yeah, sure.
Meadow?
Hi, I'm Meadow. And this is Noelle. I do writing streams on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern and on Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'm a freelance editor with Jace. So if you're looking for one of those, go to our website, roastedediting.com. Okay, I'm done.
I guess she's gonna pass it to Kat.
Okay. I'm Kat. I do things mainly on Twitch. I try to do videos on YouTube, but I'm also taking my last class right now and in the process of getting a new job. So my schedule is to be decided at this time. I'm currently actually working on something that will end up on Vela. I'm just obviously need to edit it, and it's not the priority. So I can't hand it to Jace.
Well, I can't pick it up.
Just throws it up.
My brain is so cursed. I just can't even with the no.
Okay, and I am Jace Maxwell. I'm an author of urban fantasy. I am in the process of making a serial series on my channel of audio. It's like an audio book sort of thing, but it's serialized. It's wow, Will Meyer's virtual diary, and I'm writing episode 2. Episode 1 was for the Pride and Prejudice anthology, and it is pretty cool. It's cute. It is the prologue to my series. Let's see. On my channel, I do on Tuesdays the Perfect Pancake over on Twitch, and that's the Sims 4 stream. On Thursdays, I do Vampire the Masquerade tabletop RPG called the VTM Mysteries. And this coming Friday, so Friday of next week, next week, I am starting early ass in the morning and playing the new pack of Sims 4, alternating with writing sprints. So it'll be a day in the Sims life, then a writing sprint, then a day in the Sims life, and a writing sprint. And for all the people you see on the screen here, plus others, they will have links to come in and come out as they see fit. Just flowing in and flowing out and enjoying the day. And it's going to be a long day on Friday next week, but it's going to be fun.
I would like to add one thing to my outro because I forgot. I'm looking for beta readers for my cowboy romance. If you're interested, please let me know.
Yeah. All right. And with that, I will bid everyone adieu. Thank you for coming, to the people on screen with me and to the people in chat. It was a fun time and it was productive, and we will catch you next week.